Okay, perfect. I think we can start now, Fabien.
Yeah. Do you want to wait for another minute or two, maybe? Make sure everyone is on board, or we can start if you...
1 minute more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we start. Maybe before we start, if you can make sure that your microphone is off, if you don't talk, so in order to make sure that we don't have any background noise, that would be perfect. Thank you very much. I think maybe Edouard, who just joined us, if you can turn off your microphone.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
I'm not very familiar with Teams. I usually use Zoom, so I don't know where it is to turn off. Okay, I found.
Okay.
That's perfect. Just for the background noise. Thank you very much. So I think we can start, Jérôme?
Yeah, perfect. You can.
Okay,
yeah.
So let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar where I will introduce you to Wooclap. So just before we start, so I'm Fabien Morin, I'm in charge of the development of Wooclap in France. So basically my job is to work with higher education institutions, universities, business schools and engineering schools as well. To help them in the transformation of their pedagogical methods and to work with Wooclap, of course. So I've been working with Jérôme for a few months now to help you have access to Wooclap and to make sure everything runs as smoothly as possible with Wooclap. The agenda for today. So we'll start with a short introduction about why Wooclap, how we started this project, and what is the background of such a platform. Then we will go on the platform, and first I would like to show you the student experience. I think it's important for you to have a view of what happens when you're a student and you're answering questions in Wooclap. It's a way for you to understand that and then be able to create your content. And then we'll switch to the teacher interface, and I will walk you through the interface, show you how to create your first questions, and then we will have some time for Q&A. Feel free to ask me if you have any questions during the presentation. We have 1 hour together, and my goal today is to show you like the basics of Wooclap, and for more advanced users to show you also some cool features that you can use during your courses. So feel free to ask if you want me to adapt some of the points we will discuss. So let's start. Short introduction about Wooclap. When we started the project back in 2015, we had one question in mind, which was how to make the student actor of his training and of his learning as well. Our goal was to create a pedagogical platform designed for teachers and for students, and there's quite a lot of research about learning, about learning and pedagogy, and I wanted to mention one of them that I think could be interesting to understand why Wooclap, which is the theory of Stanislas Dehaene that some of you may know, which is the 4 pillars of learning. The theory says that there are 4 ingredients for students when a student is learning something new. The first pillar is attention, of course. When you're learning something, you have to be fully attentive. And what's important with attention is that if you are distracted during your learning, then you won't be able to learn efficiently. Attention, I think, is a real challenge for students and for teachers as well. First, because I mean, it's how the brain works. Attention decreases in time, and then we have, and it's quite a new phenomenon, we have new sources of distraction as well for students, which is digital. During your classes, students work and learn with screens. Their computer, they have their smartphone as well, and I think it's something even more important nowadays to take into account with distance learning. So you have screens, you have to take into account that there are screens during the learning process of students, and it's a potential source of distractions. And so first question, how to keep attention of students to make sure that they learn efficiently. Second pillar of learning, engagement. It's something key when you're learning something to be fully engaged in the process. What it means is that if a student is passive, then he doesn't learn very well. If you're giving a course and you speak nonstop for 2 hours and a student just listen, it's not the the most efficient way to design your course to make sure that students memorize what you're saying. And so it's a second challenge related to this theory, how to make sure that you engage students and that you encourage participation so that they are fully engaged in the learning process. Third pillar of learning, feedback. I think you probably heard of it as well. How do you learn from the mistakes and from the errors you make? When a student learn, he produces information. It's the role of the teacher to give him feedback about what's about this information. In order to give feedback to your students, you have to make sure that you can measure the level of knowledge and the level of understanding of your students, and it's a challenge as well that we try to solve with Wooclap. And then the fourth component of learning is consolidation. The fact that you have to walk through an information several times in order to memorize it, and it's a challenge for teachers as well, how to encourage memorization of information. So this is kind of a starting point for us when we started designing this platform, and a few of the challenges that you probably face in your day-to-day job as a teacher, and that we try to solve with Wooclap. A few words about Wooclap. So we started the company in 2015. We launched the platform at the time. We are a Belgian startup, and we launched an office in Paris last year. And we have more than 300,000 teachers who use Wooclap all around the world and in all kind of different topics. Here you have a few of the institutions we work with. So here it is for a short introduction about Wooclap. Now we can dive into the platform. And first step, I'd like you to to become a student for a few minutes in order to understand what it is like to answer questions in Wooclap. When you will start create your questions in Wooclap, I encourage you to test your questions as a student, because it's really a great way for you to visualize how it will look like and to make sure that it matches with what you want to offer to your students. So let's go. First step, I'd like you to connect to Wooclap in order to answer a few questions. So you have here connection code wooclap.com/neoma1. So you just have, in order to participate, you just have to enter this link into your web browser. You can also scan this QR code if it's easier for you with your smartphone.
Fabien, I think there is a problem on your screen because it's freezing.
You don't have the how to participate slide?
No.
Okay, I will.
It's still how to make the student actor with training.
Okay, I will start the presentation again. Is it better this time?
No, it's still the same.
Okay, I will stop the screen sharing and then restart it.
Yeah.
Okay, do you see my screen with Wooclap?
It's still freezing. Did you stop the screen sharing?
Yeah, I stopped it and then restarted it.
Okay. It's still on the same screen, how to make the student actor.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just see FM.
Try something. I think there is a bug. Could you stop again the screen sharing?
Yes.
This thing is not easy.
So right now the screen sharing is off.
Okay. I have still something on the screen. Okay. Could you log off and
rejoin the meeting?
Yeah, sorry for that.
No
Sorry
problem.
for that, for this bug. Okay. We'll try to share something. Let's see. Okay, Fabien is coming again. Sorry for this thing. Webinaire is coming. Okay.
Yes. So I
Uh,
tried the screen sharing again.
Yeah, just one moment. Change the role. Okay, you can try now.
I don't have the rights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Try again. Okay, it should
Yeah.
work now.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now it's okay.
You have it?
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry for that. And okay. So let's continue. So you can all connect to Wooclap in order to participate. So once again, so you have here the connection link, wooclap.com/neoma1. You just have to enter this link into your web browser, and you can also use the QR code if it's easier for you, if you want to participate with your smartphone. So as you can see, connection is pretty easy with Wooclap. You don't have any app to download. You just have this link, and you can participate either through your smartphone or your desktop, depending on the context. As a teacher, you can see here on the bottom right 11 people. So it's the number of students. So right now it's you who are connected on Wooclap. So it's a great information for you because it allows you to make sure that everyone is connected before starting the quiz. So 14 people. How many are we in the meeting? We have 23.
24. Right.
Okay. So 16, I will wait a few seconds more. So let's start with the first question, and then if you're still not connected, you can connect all during the quiz as well. So let's start with the first question. Once again, you have here on the top the link that is always displayed. So if a student is lost or if he's disconnected between the course, he can connect thanks to this link. So first question, just to have an overview of what you're teaching, and in order to show you a first type of question, what subject do you teach? So as you can see, I have the number of answers received that are displayed. So once again, I can make sure that I have everyone has answered before going to the next question. So 11, 12 answers. So this is a first type of question. We will see a bunch of different options and different types of interactions you can do with you can create with Wooclap. So this is an open question. So basically, you can enter and type whatever you want on your interface. And let's see the first results. You have different options to display it. So here you have a grid. You can, if you want, you can focus, for instance, let's say operations management. You can focus on this answer. You can discuss it further with your class and then move to another answer. You can, I think it's not allowed here, but you can also answer with pictures, which could be interesting in some contexts. We can have the list of results and then a word cloud. I think we will see another word cloud. So basically, how a word cloud works is that the most common answers are displayed bigger, which is a great way to foster collaboration within the class and collective intelligence as well. So here we can see that we have English teachers.
Sorry for interrupting. Vivian has a question.
Yeah. Please make sure that your microphone is turned on.
Yes, Brendan,
Thank you.
you have a question?
Excuse me. I don't find the place to reply.
Okay. So you have to open a new tab in your web browser.
No. Anyway.
If you use, I don't know, maybe you use Google Chrome or...
Google Chrome, yes.
Okay, so you create a new tab on Google Chrome.
Yes.
And then you have to type the link wooclap.com.
Yeah. No problem. I open this clap, but no problem. That doesn't matter.
Okay, if you still have trouble with it, we can discuss it maybe at the end to make sure that everything is okay.
À tous et bienvenue dans cette démonstration.
Okay, we can discuss it at the end to make sure that, okay?
No problem.
Thank you. So this is it for Wooclap. So first type of interaction, how teachers use it usually. For instance, at the beginning of a course, when you want to introduce a new topic, you can ask students a Wooclap and ask them, for instance, what do you have in mind when you talk about, let's say, corporate finance, and they will enter some words, and you will be able to use it to then introduce the topic. Some teachers also use it at the end of a course to say, okay, what did you remember of this course? What are the main things that you remember, for instance? Second type of question, this is a multiple choice question. So I think you're familiar with this kind of question. What you can see is that here I added a timer, which is a great way if you want to make things more, if you want to add a bit of rhythm in your presentation. So here, 30 seconds. If I want to give you more time, I just have to click here. And I can see that I already have 12 answers out of 20 people and still counting. So this is a poll. Basically, what I can do is also, thanks to this button on the left, I can display your answers. And I can see that most of you are beginners with Wooclap. Okay, we wait till the end of the timer. So it's a great way if you want to make sure that your quiz doesn't last too long, that you want to make sure that they have a time frame, your students have a time frame for your quiz. So that was a poll. Then you can do, we have another Wooclap. Maybe we can move on to the next type of question because we already saw a Wooclap. Let's move on to a brainstorm, which is a great tool for business-related topics. So here, basically, I created a SWOT, which is a quite common framework, I think, that you maybe use in your courses. So an example, what do you think about hybrid courses format? What are the strengths of hybrid courses? What are their weaknesses? Is there any? Do you see any opportunities, any threats about that? So you have a few seconds to enter some answers. So as you can see how brainstorms work, that you can create like kind of post-its with your ideas. You can enter these ideas in these different categories. So here I created 4 categories. You can custom that. You can make the custom, of course. And if you want, you can also create a new category. Let's say category 5, for instance. So you can really customize your brainstorming. As you can see, you can also like other people's answers, which is a great way to make sure that you have interaction as well between students. And usually students like this this possibility.
There is a question from Birgit. Birgit, you have a question?
Yeah, I actually had 2 questions.
Yeah.
One of the question refers directly to what you've just done before with the timing. Can you see the individual timings for the students?
No. Basically, it's a time frame for all students.
Mhm.
And at the end of the timer, they can't answer anymore.
Okay.
But there is no individual, and you don't have the you don't see how fast people answered.
Okay, no problem. And the other question was, when we create questionnaires like these, could we create a link that we then can integrate into our online system? So I'm thinking I might not want to do this live, but I might say asynchronous, people can use especially something like this, brainstorming the week between one session and the next session.
Yeah.
But then I would have to have a link somehow to link it to our system.
Yeah, basically, I will show you it later. We have 2 kind of quizzes. You have live quizzes, that's what we are doing right now. And then you have asynchronous quizzes that students can do at any time, and basically, before the course or after. And it's a great way to give them interactive content as well. So I will show you how it works also.
Thank you, that's great.
And I think there is another question from Moira. Moira.
Yes, thank you. It was from the past exercise with the cloud.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was a way to count the answers, or you only have the size of the letters to, because in the beginning you showed the listing. I wasn't sure if it's able to kind of add them up, because there was, for example, several English.
Yeah, so it displays the size of the words, but then you have access in the results of the quiz. You have access to all the answers of the students, so you can see how many answers of each type you had.
Okay, but it doesn't do it automatically. It cannot add them up. It cannot say English 5, strategy 1.
Not on this type of question. You're
Okay.
right. Yeah.
It has to be like a predetermined, I imagine. Okay, thank you.
So lots of answers for the brainstorm. I will stop the votes. So this is this button that you can use as a teacher in order to make sure that students can't vote anymore, so that the picture is fixed, and then you can use it to discuss it. If you have a lot of answers, maybe you would like to sort them in order to deal with the most common answers. So this is with this button, and then I see COVID friendly, for instance, that was liked 2 times. What is interesting with the brainstorm is that it's an interactive content, so you can do a lot of things with it. You can zoom in and zoom out of a given card. You can choose to delete an answer if you want, and you can also drag and drop them from a column a column to another. So maybe tech readiness could be a strength, so you can move it. So it's a very great way, because you use the ideas of your students to build your course. So here it is for the brainstorm. And last type of question before moving to the teacher interface. Let's check if you were attentive at the beginning of the presentation. How many learning pillars are there according to Professor Stanislas Dehaene? So this type of question is find a number. So all you can do is enter an answer with a number. So it's very useful for topics where you have calculation, because your students can just answer with the number needed. So we already have 55% of participants who have answered. That's 11 answers out of 20.
While waiting for the answers, just a quick one. I don't recall the timing of for answering the questions. I suppose it's you choose it as a professor. You when you set up the questionnaire, you're gonna you choose whether it's gonna be a minute, 5 or 30 seconds or whatever, right?
Yeah, so you can choose whether or not to display a timer. You can choose not to have one, like for this question, for instance, and then you can customize the time you want.
Right.
So you
Sure.
choose the number of seconds.
Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Can
So
you show us how you proceed for the timing?
Yes, I will show you it in a minute on the teacher interface. So let's see the results. So you have here the list of results. You can also see the most frequent answers. So that's a way to answer the a previous question. On this type of question, you have the number of answers. So 10 people answered 4 to this question. What's interesting as well that you have statistics with some statistics which could be useful depending on your topics, and then the correct answer. We see here that 67% of participants answered correctly, and on your device, on the student interface, you can see if your answer was right or wrong. So there was some of the different types of interactions you can create with Wooclap. We have 30 minutes left, so we can move on to the teacher interface to show you how it works and how you can create your questions with Wooclap. So here we are. This is the teacher interface. I think it's quite easy to use and to understand. You have here on the top the list of the different kind of interactions you can create, and then here the list of the questions you created. So let's start with creating the first question together to see how it works. So I'd like, for instance, to create, let's say, a multiple choice question. So I click here on this button, and it opens the interface to create my question. So let's start with a very simple question. Let's say, quelle est la capitale de la France? Let's say that it's. So this is here my question. This is here my different answers. Let's say Paris or Rouen. Here I click in order to show and to define the right answer, and then I just have to click on save. Here is my new question. I can reorder questions if I want to, and then I want to ask this question to my students. I just have to click here on start. And then you have the question. You can have the question in your student interface that you had previously. The question here, the participation link, and you can answer. And I see that 2 of you already answered. So here is for creating a question. One, you choose the kind of question you want, the type of interaction you want to create, and then you just have to click on start. We can walk through the different kinds of questions you can create, just to give you an overview of it. So we've tried multiple choice, we've tried the poll already. We didn't see find on image. Basically, this type of question, you define a background. It can be an image, so a picture. It can be basically whatever you want, and students have to find the right spot on the image. You have rating. So rating, you give a sentence, and then students have to rate this sentence from 0 to 10, for instance. Open question, word cloud, we've seen it together. Find a number as well. Matching, so you have to match 2 columns. So for instance, let's say countries and capitals, and you have to find the right matches. Prioritization, sorting, so you have to sort different sentences. For instance, if you're working on a process, you have the different steps of the process, and your students can sort and find the right order of the steps of your process. Fill in the blank. We've seen that there are quite a few English teachers on this webinar. Fill in the blanks is very much used by language teachers. It's quite a great way to interact with your students. You can create a slide, you can create a brainstorming, as we've seen, and then script concordance, which are quite very specific for not very used in business school, so I won't dive into it. And you can also add audio or video. So that's it for the different kind of questions. Here on the top right, you have the participation link on which you connected. You can customize it. So it was Neuma 1, I could say Neuma 2, so I just have to choose it, and in order to make it easy for your students. So that was the first step on Wooclap. I choose the kind of interaction I want to create. I create my question, and then I just have to click on start. So that's basically the first step with Wooclap. And then you can do you can go further with Wooclap, and I like to start with one cool feature. I think that most of you use PowerPoint presentations for your courses. What would be great, it would be if you could have everything in the same place. So your PowerPoint presentation, your question, your quizzes, your YouTube videos, for instance. That's basically what we do with Wooclap. So let me show you. You just have to click here on Add Presentation. And in here you can import your presentation. So we have different formats which are taken into account in Wooclap. So PDF, PowerPoint, Keynote, Google Slides. So whatever you use, I think it's here. And I click here on Add Presentation, and then you find your presentation right here. What is great with Wooclap is that you can insert questions within your presentation. So you just have to click here on Insert Questions, and then here you have it. So basically here you have your list of slides. So this is my PowerPoint basically, and on the right, on the column on the right, you have the questions you created. So here we have the last question we just created. Let's say I want to ask these questions to my students just after the slide number 3 here. I just have to take my question and drag and drop here after slide number 3. It's as easy as it at this. And it's great because it's a way for you to really create a scenario for your course. So let's introduce your topic with my slides. Then let's check that my students understood it with a question. Then I could show an example thanks to a YouTube content, for instance. And you have everything here, and then so it's very smooth when you are doing the presentation in front of your students. So this was the integration with presentations, and then here this column on the right, this is the advanced settings of your quiz, where you can do some different things that we'll show you. So first thing that is interesting and I think quite useful for you would be to be able to authenticate your students. So as you've seen in the questions you answered, you didn't mention who you were. So I don't know basically who answered what. Here you can turn on authentication, and then before answering your questions, students will have to log in either with email. Eventually, social is an option, and then with the SSO of the school. And then you will be able to see who answered what. So very useful if you want to just track the progress of your students, and if you want, of course, to evaluate them. This is an important option for you. You can authenticate with just a username if you want as well. I will move on to the bottom, and we can discuss these options after if we still have time, because I want to show you the exports of results, which are, I think quite useful as well for you as teachers. So we have two kind of, we display the results in two different reports. First one is called grid. So let's see the grid. So the grid basically is a table with one line per user, per student, and then every column is one question, and you have the answers of every student. So this is really a way to see the individual performances of your students. What is great is that it calculates the total, so the grade of your students. So if you want to use Wooclap for a quiz, for instance, at the beginning of a course, and to use it to evaluate your students, that's what you can do with the grade. You can export this tab to Excel if you want to. And then the second type of report is called the report, and it's quite a different visualization of the results. So it's more a global view of what happened during the quiz. So you have first question, and then all the answers that were given by the students, question 2, and so on. So quite useful to take a step back and have a more global view of the answers. You can export it to Excel as well. You can also have a PDF if you're interested with it, and you can export everything here. Export the results to Excel. So that's a few options within the quizzes. Before, and then I think you will probably have questions, and I can show you maybe some other options. I will show you the timer because you asked for it. So if you want to add a timer to a question, let's say to the poll, you just click here to edit. So you have the question, the answers, and here you can turn on the timer, and you just have here, you choose the time you want to add. So that's it for the timer. Yes.
There is a question from Margita. Margita?
Sorry, I managed to do the MCQ. However, it does allow only one correct answer. Is there an option when I can ask a question where multiple answers is okay?
Yeah. So here, so here we are on a multiple choice question. So this is this button allows you to say that, okay, Paris is the right answer. You can define 2 right answers if you want to. So here you just have to click here, and then what you can do, and maybe that was your question as well, can participants select different answers? Yeah, that's an option as well. And this is with this button on the right, multiple answers. If you turn it on, then participant can select more than one answer.
Yeah, that was exactly what I forgot to do.
Okay.
Thanks.
Excellent. Okay. Then I'd like to show you, so here we are on the tab votes, which are live quizzes, and I'd like to show you the two other tabs, and it's also you asked the question just a few minutes before. So second tab is messages. Messages is a way for you to activate a wall of messages. All through your course, students will have access to a button where they can send messages, and we will be able to find it and then to answer questions. So it's a great way for you to allow them to ask questions, for instance, during the course. So it's here. You can allow likes if you want students to like the messages of one another. You can also allow to answer with images. It's quite useful if you have courses with a large number of students. Then you have, and that will be my recommendation, you have to be careful and to choose whether you want them to ask questions through the wall of messages on Wooclap, or if you prefer them to use the chat on Teams or on Zoom, depending on the tool you're using. Because if you have both the wall and the chat, it could be confusing for them and for you. So be careful with that. And then third tab, this is participant pace. So I told you about it. So participant pace questionnaires, it's basically the same kind of quizzes that than in votes, but this time it's asynchronous quizzes. So you just click here on create, and then you have exactly the same interface, and then you have a link, a participation link, that you can embed in your different platform or courses, and students have access to a questionnaire, and they can answer to the quiz at their own pace, which is quite interesting. I just mentioned that, so you can create questionnaires, but you can as well add files to it, which is great. So for instance, what teachers usually do is that they add files. So for instance, a YouTube content, let's say a PDF document, and students have to answer to a quiz related to these files. So this is how you can use it. So this is it basically for a quick walkthrough of the platform. Votes for live quizzes, participant pace for asynchronous quizzes, and here the settings that you can open with different kind of options. Do you have any questions about what I showed you, or would you like to go maybe deeper on some of the points we mentioned?
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah. You mentioned Zoom. So I guess there is no interface between the two. So Zoom and Wooclap, for now, they are two independent tools. So if you use them at the same time simultaneously, I guess students as well as the professor should manage them at the same time, which may not necessarily be very handy for some. Okay.
Yeah, I have a great news, I think, for you. That is, we are working on an integration between Wooclap and Zoom that will be available next week or in 2 weeks from now. I think that Jérôme will test it this week, and so this is an answer to it. Basically, we wanted to make sure that there is a very smooth and very easy.
The thing is, where you hit the nail on the head is that Zoom has a weakness in terms of quizzes. So you do it better than them. So I guess it's a good mix to, for example, you do the presentation in Zoom, but then you manage all the questionnaire and everything else with the Wooclap, for example. That would be, in my opinion. For now, I'm not expert in Wooclap, so I'm just saying. Okay, good. Just to finish, because I have some questions, other questions as well. You mentioned the fact that we should always test, which is logical. What, in your opinion, is the most efficient way to test your questionnaire? So, meaning that you're going to have to play the role of, so you build your questionnaire, and then you have to create a fake participant that would take the quiz on the other end. I guess this is what
Yeah, in order to test it, basically, you just have to either if you want to test it on your desktop, you just have to open another tab in your browser, and then you enter the participation link, and then you can enter. You can also choose to test your quizzes with your smartphone, and then as well you just scan the QR code, for instance, and then you're connected. So it's quite easy.
All right. For the stats, I had a question, but you tackled that issue. Emails. You said that we should identify the participants. I guess that makes sense to attach that to the statistics that you're going to take out of the questionnaire, right?
Yeah.
Now, Wooclap identifies, so the students would open up an account. So if they put in their email, automatically Wooclap would identify them and provide their names, because sometimes perhaps if the email is not very explicit in terms of their names, you want their names, not necessarily only the email, right?
Yeah, basically what the platform does, it doesn't create any account for the students. It just identifies them for one given quiz, which is the one you're presenting to them.
All right. Okay, I guess for now, that's all. I wouldn't want to take all the time for myself. Thank you for your answers.
Thank you. Any other questions?
We have 5 more minutes to answer to your questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask another question then. I see that you recorded this presentation, so
yes.
I expect that we can review it perhaps later on if we forget some of the stuff that we've been through right now. So this recording is going to be available, I suppose.
Yeah, it will be available on courses very soon. I think tomorrow.
Oh, that's great.
No problem. Yeah.
Sure. And then in case we have some other question,
yeah,
when to be really hands-on, we address that with you or with
yeah.
Rom,
with me. Yeah, you can ask directly to me or on courses if you want, as you wish.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I post on the chat the registration link for those of you who don't have any account on Wooclap. You just have to click on this link and then create an account, and it gives you access to the Neuma license. So first point, and then about if you have any questions, one thing I could mention, you have here on the top right a button tutorials. I encourage you to use it because you have quite useful resources with answers to the most common question. You have a FAQ, you have the user guide as well. And you can also check our YouTube channel where we have a lot of different video tutorials which are quite useful, like very short, very easy to understand. So it could be also a great tool for you.
Perfect. Right, so a last question, or it's okay for everyone? No question?
No, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Fabien.
Then thank you everyone. Thank you, Jérôme, for organizing this session.
Thank you very much.
And
thank you very much.
The replay will be available from tomorrow on courses. See you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.